Yes, good afternoon, good morning, good evening. Welcome to Football Heritage TV. The views on YouTube lately are terrible. But you know what? We are not terrible. Perchy and I are back again for the What Are We Doing Here podcast. Villareal in town for Champions League match day 1. Jack Perchard, how are you, sir? Are we well?
Oh, use my first name, but luckily there's only 20 people in here. They don't know who I am. Big up to everyone watching. No, I'm good. We're back as a pair on a Monday evening. Look, I mean, we've got a lot to talk about. I mean, we beat West Ham on the weekend. That was fun. We also have a guest,
and we've got Chris here. Hello, Chris. Welcome to the What Are We Doing Here podcast.
How are we doing?
All good.
Good. We've only done this show tonight in the hope that you could spend the next 2 hours teaching us all about refereeing laws. That's what we're here for.
Cool. Let's go. What do you want to know?
Let's do it. Yeah, listen, it all feels like the calm before the storm, guys, doesn't it? You know, we've come back from international break. It's all a bit subdued in the world of football. It feels like the world needs something big to happen, like an Amorim sacking. Do you know what I mean? Like something needs to happen. Someone needs to get done in some sort of drug scandal or something. I don't know. Just something needs to kick off in the world of football.
I like it.
Yeah, or balloons in Basuma's case. Balloons.
I think everyone in the chat needs to put their scandal in the chat that we want to see. I want to see that everyone in there.
Yeah, what scandal would you like to see in the world of football? Keep it clean. I don't want to see Thomas Partey's name anywhere near any of your answers, please. Keep it clean. By the way, funnily enough, he will also be in Tottenham tomorrow, playing for Villareal. Chris, let me start with you. How are you, sir? Are you well?
I'm all right, mate. I've been busy driving around the world today, including calling in to see Perchy, which was lovely.
Pop in, said I.
Was he hospitable? Like, did he make you a cuppa or get you some sandwich or something?
Well, no, he offered me a drink, but I literally just come from Costa. But he was hospitable to me and to my dogs and let them run around his house. So, yeah.
Oh, lovely.
All good.
Lovely. How nice is this? See, this is what YouTube, it brings us all together.
I just got a message going, I'm on the M4. Are you around? I went, yeah, I'm working, but you can come say hi. You're more than welcome.
I don't believe Perchy's got a job. He always says he's working, right? But if you message Perchy, he responds as though he's sitting on his phone. Like he is instant.
My phone has a little block on its stand, and I'm plodding away doing my job.
Yeah, absolutely. Guys, come on, get your scandals in. Yes, Jezza. I said scandal. What players wear lady panties during matches or training sessions? Yes, what a wonderful scandal that would be. Yeah, Christian Romero wears lady panties whilst crunching into tackles. Brilliant. What a wonderful, wonderful headline that would be. We have won a game of football, believe it or not, and we do play again tomorrow night. So a very, very quick turnaround. Also, I'll be asking you guys if you have had a chance to see the Amazon interview. I don't know if you guys have, between Carrick and no, Chris, no. Okay, we won't be going there then. If anyone gets a chance, I put it on my community post earlier. Michael Carrick did a 30-minute interview at the Tottenham training ground with Thomas Frank, talking about coaching, how he picks teams, how it's very, very good. He's very, very honest, is Thomas Frank. And it made me realize how much I miss having a Michael Carrick-esque player in midfield. Massively. I'm going to say this. I'll start off. This is Spurs related. Michael Carrick, for me, guys, the most underrated player in Premier League history. I don't know if that's a hot take or not. I genuinely don't think this guy gets the plaudits he deserves. And for me, should have had 100 England caps if it wasn't for the fact that everyone was too scared to drop either Lampard or Gerrard.
If he had a fancy Italian name, he'd be the best player in the world.
Carrickinho.
Like if Carrick had like it was Mikel Calacino, like everyone will be talking about him being the best player in the world, playing for like Juventus and everyone.
Yeah. Chris, were you a Michael Carrick fan? You're obviously of age to remember him well.
I was a fan. I'm not quite extolling his virtues as much as you, Savva, but I'm not going to sit here and argue against it. Like, he's a very, very good player, but yeah, like no issues at all. Obviously he'd walk into our team, wouldn't he?
Better than Archie Gray?
I'm sorry. I was gonna cheekily answer it with Gray's got a higher ceiling, but
you know what?
The ceiling,
isn't it strange? In 2025, everyone is obsessed with how high their ceiling is. Like I've never heard. All the years I watched football up until about the last 5 years, I never remember anyone talking about ceilings. And now it feels like everyone is fixated with ceilings. Guys,
I tell you, he's got a really high ceiling. That Voltemade at Newcastle, he's got a really high ceiling.
His head hits the ceiling.
I love everything about him. I wish we'd signed him. He's got a great name. He looks so quirky. He's a real enigma of a footballer, isn't he? Like, he's very unorthodox. I don't know. I really hope he does well. And his name is Voldemort. So, I mean, what more do you want from a footballer than this guy?
I think he's one of those that, like, he's the player that, you know, like when Chelsea fans started calling Azpilicueta Dave because they couldn't say his name. Like, I feel like they're just going to call him like his name is now Gary. Like, we're going to call you Gary because we can't say your name.
Yeah, he does look like he's just won a competition, doesn't he? And just turned up as the winner of today's guy out the crowd playing is this guy here.
It's crazy.
Like when Tim Sherwood didn't he give his gilet to someone in the crowd that time?
Oh yeah, because he was giving him shit, going, "Oh, you're a crap manager," and fine, here you manage. Here's my gilet and sit in my seat.
Yeah. Tim Sherwood and his gilet. By the way, Tim Sherwood. I know we're all over the place at the moment. Tim Sherwood, Premier League winning captain. Tim Sherwood, by the way, I don't think he gets enough credit either. He was a, and I remember his England debut. God, I'm old. Chris, you're with me, by the way. I'm grouping you in with me in this age.
I'm older. Yeah.
Yes, you are. You are older, but I'm going to be polite and say you look younger than me. It's just my glow of tan at the moment, which makes me look a little bit more respectable than I normally look, and that will fade in the next month. So, but guys, getting to Tottenham Hotspur, let's talk about Christian Romero. Have you seen his comments
Yes.
in the last couple of hours?
Yes.
I was told, you know, by all the top Spurs fans that, oh my God, Ange has gone. Oh, Romero's going with him. How could he possibly want to play for another manager? He said he's always been happy. He's saying now it's nice to see that the club has structure. Without me answering it, are we reading too much into Christian Romero's comments? And have we seen a difference in him since Thomas Frank has entered the building?
I do. I read it and I was like, oh, it's funny, isn't it? Because about 2-3 months ago, all of a sudden this guy was going and he hated it. I'm waiting for a certain protest group to claim that Daniel Levy going is the reason for Romero's comments. Sorry. Like, I feel like Romero loves us now because Daniel Levy's left. Like,
yeah, Daniel Levy's gone. Romero's happy. Oh, yeah, he's happy.
Like, I feel like something like that's going to come. Big up. I don't know. It's just a bit of banter.
He did mention Levy. He did mention Levy, didn't he, Christian Romero? I don't know. Have you seen it?
I only read the screenshot that was there. Like, I don't know if I haven't read the whole thing, but
yeah, same. So yeah, I think though have we seen a different Romero? I think it's too early to judge whether we've seen a different Romero.
I think it's been the same for me because I think I think Romero's one of those again in those big games and stuff. I go, oh, you're a top player, but he's equally in games when you go, oh, like I want to see more out of. For example, Bournemouth and Burnley. I didn't think he was great. Like. For me, I just want to see a consistent Romero. I love it. Look, positives.
I'm going more from his Forget on the pitch at the moment.
Okay.
And everyone in the chat, join in with this conversation. You know me, people. I like chatting to you lot. Even I tell you what, YouTube's really quiet at the moment. I'm down on trolls. I've got no trolls to banter with at the moment. Where are my trolls? You keep
Matt,
me going.
where are you?
Trolls, come back out from under the bridge and come and call me names. Come and tell me how big my nose is and how ugly I am. I miss it.
Just need a Spurs loss for that normally, isn't it?
The moment Spurs lose, I get Thomas Frank. I thought he was a coach. Let me show you. So these are some of the things that Romero has said. You can see it there. He said, why have Tottenham got that massive drop-down box? That's horrible. That is horrible. What's that doing in the screen? Kuti on Daniel Levy's departure. I mean, he said loads, didn't he? I don't know what's happened, but he is a person who's been at the club for a good many years. We need to thank him. He brought me here. Fortunately, we could crown his reign with a trophy. I wish him the very best. I'm going to use this with Lubo later. When Lubo tells me how good Romero is, I'm going to say, well, he told us. You've got to thank Levy, and Levy brought him here. There you go.
Yeah, exactly. It's a Daniel Levy signing Christian Romero every time you hype it. Thank you, Mr. Levy, for bringing me QT Romero.
There you go. So, I mean, look, he did say, on a serious note, he said, let's have a, that's Thomas. Kuti on what success looks like. No. Kuti on looking forwards. Here we go. I always want the best for the club. I see a structure that is really positive and in one we can really grow. I see a club with great organisation and with a manager that is showing real positivity in the short time he's been with us. Our heads are all focused on tomorrow night's game. Chris, the two words I look at there are structure and organisation, which is something not really being attributed to Tottenham in the last in the last couple of years.
Just one question on this. As it's on the Tottenham website, I assume this was a club-approved interview or whatever, right?
This is the press conference, isn't it?
This was his press conference.
This is the press conference, isn't it?
So therefore,
whatever are you suggesting, Chris? Are you suggesting that he didn't mean this? Is that what you're saying?
Instantly, I just think, well, all right, it's club spin, isn't it? I'm not saying he didn't mean it, but let's just take things with a little pinch of salt. And let's just be honest, right? We are Tottenham Hotspur. So if come the January window, Real Madrid come in for Romero's not going, I'm so into all this future at Tottenham, right? So you just got to be realistic. Hopefully he's a bit more settled maybe than when the links with Atletico were there last season, and also playing in a chaotic system that can't have been any fun, probably for any players, but least of all the centre-backs. So hopefully he's a bit more settled, a bit more bought into it. But let's not start convincing ourselves that he's at Spurs for life and he bleeds lily white if you cut him open. It's look,
sorry,
he's here.
You don't believe he turns down Real Madrid to play in North London? Is that what we're saying here?
I mean, call me negative if you want, but I just don't think it's very likely, you know. So look, it's great if he's more on board and more settled than he was last season. That's a massive positive for a start. But don't fall into the normal. And I know you guys wouldn't, but the normal trap of he loves Spurs and yeah, whatever. You're
trying to say that someone like myself wouldn't get trapped into the glory of an Argentinian that is a World Cup winner and being all excited. Chris, it's like you don't know me very well. Like I'm the most positive person ever. No, but on a serious level, I think
Stanley.
He's looking, going, get me down.
There's Stanley. He just called to come up, let alone get him down.
Fair enough. No, look, I think for me, I think with the Romero thing, look, let's be fair, he's not going to say anything controversial in a press conference for a Villarreal game. Exactly. For me, it is what it is, right? I don't really give two craps about a press conference. So it is what it is, right? You can read between the lines. Like he's not going to say anything absolutely mental. Look, the one thing what I will say though, and I said it last season and in the whole of the summer, was if he's going to be captain, then sign a contract. So I've got to be balanced in the sense of if he signed a new contract and he was given the armband, I'm all for it. It is what it is. I think some people make out like all of a sudden that he was this like Levy out kind of like rebel in the club. No, he weren't. He was a paid employee like all the others. That's how I see it.
Yeah. Big up to Nicola Napodano, who said a scandal would be that Savva is an Arsenal fan.
That's not scandal. That's just facts, isn't it?
Nah, it's not. He's actually a Villa fan. I think that's the one I get. I get told I'm a Villa fan. Recently.
I get Villa, QPR for some reason. Charlton, I'll take that though. They're just down the road. I love it. Apparently everyone but Tottenham Hotspur. Thank you to Nicola Napadano. Hope you're well. Not seen you in here before, so I'm not sure I quite believe this is a real person yet. We'll see how we go with that one.
They left wing for Kivo Verona, don't they?
Who?
They play left wing for like Bologna.
Yeah, probably.
Probably better than our left wingers then in that case.
Whose mic is making noise? I'd like to think all of our mics allowing noise. I can't hear anything untoward. Can anyone else? I can't.
I can't, but I thought it might have been mine. But
I can't, but I do often have background dog noises going on. But
well, yeah. Listen, we all like a background dog noise. Let us know in the chat if you weren't going to support Tottenham, like gun to your head type scenario. Who's your next team? Who you going with? And let's make it interesting. You can't pick a Premier League team, because that's boring. Who you supporting? I'm going to go with. Am I going to go with Bromley? I'm going with Bromley. I'm going with Bromley Town.
It's an easy one for me. So, had you not put the qualification on, it probably would have been Wolves. That's where I was born, and my dad was a Wolves fan. There are reasons before the chat goes mental as to why I didn't support Wolves. My dad wasn't around when I was little. But anyway, if it's not that, then it's going to have to be, and I do support them. I'm having two teams. It's got to be Stafford Rangers, where I served burgers as a teenager for those football. They're in the conference at the time. They're about 3 leagues below it now. So Stafford Rangers is my team.
So you would serve burgers, and then as soon as the whistle started, you then started reffing the match.
Oh, I didn't. I was about 12, but
fair enough.
Basically, apart from the 5 minutes before the end of the first half and at the start of the second half, I couldn't watch the game because I was selling burgers. Aside from that, I just then go and watch the game. So I loved it. It was great.
Big up to Peter Phillips, who's saying Dartford. Dartford, that's down the road from me. Peter, without giving me your postcode or your name road, where do you live? If it is just Dartford, just say Dartford. But whereabouts do you live? I'm guessing within proximity to Dartford's ground, which is very interesting. Dartford's ground, isn't it? With the roof and the grass and all that kind of stuff. Oh, look at that. What's that? This is Stafford Rangers, is it?
Stafford Rangers, yeah.
Stafford Rangers, love it. Well, we've got
Stafford Rangers' most famous player that played for Stafford Rangers.
Go on.
You're not going to guess it, but Stan Collymore played for Stafford Rangers before he moved to Palace, so he's probably the most famous.
Well, there we go. I've got a little quiz question in a minute. But by the way, Phil P is in the house. Phil P. My missus is in the room with me, by the way. Do you remember Phil P? The 95% shot of drink when he was here. Remember Phil P? You go, woo, that one. She was very drunk. I was very drunk, she said. Yes, it was a drunken day. Phil P has said Enfield Town or the Orient. We've got Ridgeway Rovers. Love that. Dagenham and Redbridge. Sutton. Cambridge. Stevenage. Gerald's a QPR fan. Phil P has said, aren't Perchy and Savva already Villa fans? Yes, we are. Why not? The Wealdstone Raiders. Hastings. Norwich and Oxford. I want to find out from Peter how close he is to Dartford. Leighton Orient, says Lisa Davis. How you doing, Lisa? I hope you're well. Peter has come back in and said, yep, born and bred and probably Jewy. Peter, I'll see you in Dartford. I was there the other week, actually. Don't judge me, Peter. I met my mate for a drink in the Weatherspoons in Dartford, and it is every bit as bad as I'm making it sound. and then we went to a nice new micro pub opposite. I'm sure you know it. Peter, get in touch with me, mate. We'll go for a beer in Dartford, mate. Massive love to Mrs. Savva. Don't start sucking up now, Phil. Don't start sucking up now, mate. Too late. Yeah, listen, back to the football. I love
Slough
these.
Town for mine.
Very quickly.
Slough Town. Thanks for asking, Savva.
I know yours is Slough Town. Slough is an absolute shithole, by the way, isn't it?
Real Club de Deportivo de Barcelona.
Brilliant.
They play at 8 o'clock, by the way. 8 o'clock, Espanyol Mallorca, just so you know.
Can you pull up James Alexic's comment at 6:27?
What, this one?
Do you mean the one that's on the screen?
I'm sorry. I was looking at a different screen, which is a really good point. So another famous-ish ex-Stafford Rangers player was Mika Alexic, who played in goal for Spurs in the 81 Cup final, I think.
I'm guessing this is the son.
Yeah, so unfortunately he passed away quite a long time ago, but big up to James. Yeah, your dad's a little bit of a Spurs legend. I've got all these shirts where I try and get them signed, so unfortunately your dad's going to be one missing from that. I've got like the 81, but yeah, absolutely. So big up for one of your watchers being the son of an ex-Spurs player. I mean, it's pretty.
There you go.
Good.
Well, big up to you, James. What was your dad? What was his dad's name?
Mika Alexic. He was, trying to remember nationalities and stuff. I think he died in South Africa.
Got proper cool now. Fair plus. This is
there we go.
This is quality.
Yeah, so everyone called him Mika, but it's Midheiler, I think it was.
All right, I'm bringing it up now. I'm bringing it up on screen. Here we go. And by the way, we also get David House's nephew in here.
Oh yes.
If he's telling the truth, obviously I've got no reason to believe he's not. If not, that is a really random lie to make up, isn't it? That's like me coming in here and going, oh yeah, my best friend's dad is Stuart Nethercott or something like that. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Let's have a look then. Let's have a look at this guy's dad. So big up to you. There you go, Milja Alexic. There we go. Let's get rid of the comment. So, that's a bit small. Let me blow that up for everybody. Milja Alexic played as a goalkeeper, making 138 appearances in the Football League. Released by Port Vale in 69. He played for Eastwood. 3 years later, he moved to... I love that. All these really bad clubs.
Whoa. You missed out lifting the FA trophy with Stafford Rangers. It's like they've only ever won that twice, and you just glossed over it like it was unimportant.
Yeah, it kind of is. I love the way that not many people go from clubs like Stafford Rangers and Plymouth to Tottenham Hotspur, but fair play. I like this. Tottenham Hotspur, 20. Let's have a look. Here we go.
25 appearances for Spurs. That's quality.
32 in all competitions. And his last appearance would have been in the year I was born. There you go. Milja Alexic. Love that. So we've learned something new today. Where are we? Back to the football. I like the What Are We Doing Here podcast. We kind of like just float around and talk about whatever we want to talk about. But guys, we are playing in the Champions League, going back to some sort of football conversation. Is everyone excited? Are we looking forward to the night under the lights? Is this going to be like when Harry first took us into the Champions League?
Well, it won't be like that because half the stadium's not sold. Like,
really, is it bad?
I've heard it's really empty. There's so many people I know are trying to like give away their tickets. They're going, instead of 70, I'll take 50. I'll take 40. Like, just wait until like the minute before kickoff, and they'll just take a fiver. People are so like trying to get rid of their tickets at the moment. Like, they've got them on the season ticket. Like,
it's bad when the club email you as a season ticket holder and say you can buy up to 4 guest.
Someone said you can buy like 6 or something stupid.
I think it might be 6 for the Villareal game.
Like, you can buy up 6 tickets. Like, they definitely priced it wrong, didn't they? I think it's like 70, 80 quid or something. That's
it's a category B game, so yeah.
Yeah, okay, right. So there you go, everyone. I tried to get you all excited for the Champions League, and Chris has poo-pooed that in one sentence. He has absolutely destroyed it. But on a serious note, guys, I'm really happy that the first of our 8 Champions League games is at the Lane, and it's a good opportunity to kick off with 3 points. It won't be easy, but I'm going to go to our Spanish expert, Perchinho. What of Villareal like? Talk to us about Villareal.
Oh look, I think Villareal are good. They're one of those organised sides, right? I think what they've got though. The one thing that Spurs will have that maybe that they don't have is that young, youthful experience, like in the sense of like having a much more youthful midfield. And they'll have those dogged hard workers in Thomas Partey and Danny Parejo, who's about 55 or something, but still playing like top level football. Well, a great football player, just hasn't got like. But if Spurs are going to win it, you have to break down those two. They're going to have wide players. Don't worry, guys. You don't have to panic. Manor Solomon, I doubt it will be playing. If everyone's terrified, he's going to somehow manage it. I mean,
just Matty K. Just Matty K.
Do you know what's amazing, right? Every time Manor Solomon kicks the ball, I get a message from Matty K going, "Oh, did you see him?" No. And then I thought, "Oh, do you know what? I'll give a little back." I went, "Oh, Matty, did you? How did Manor Solomon play the other day?" You went, "Oh, I don't know." I went, "Oh, don't worry, it's absolutely fine. He didn't kick a ball. He didn't come off the bench." Like, so I thought I'd give a little bit back. But look, I actually worry that he's a people. I've got loads of people will give it that he's I don't think he gets in at Villareal. I think they've got such better wingers, honestly. That Molero, who they replaced Alex Baena with, by the way, keep an eye on him. I think he's one of those football players a few years back. If anyone remembered, there was all that talk about that young winger that played Las Palmas. And people were talking about him going like Barcelona, Real Madrid. He got a really, really bad injury, and now Villareal have bought him to replace Alex Baena. Keep an eye on him. He's a good little player. And they play it. Well, bear in mind, don't forget they've also got Pepe up front, plays up top with and they have a player that we're massively fond of in Mikatadze. So
there's quite a strong London connection tomorrow. You've got Partey and Pepe from Arsenal. You've got Renato Vega, who was at Chelsea last year. You've got Juan Foyth, who of course was at Tottenham. Manor Solomon was at Tottenham. It's not like there's a lot of players we don't know. There's a lot of players we do know, right?
They had Etienne Capoue. Remember him? He was there.
Danjuma was there, wasn't he, as well?
Danjuma, yeah. There's loads. Like Villareal, I said, like, I'll be honest, I stand by. There should be no reason why we can't be beating them. They're a good side. They're not a great side, but they're also one of those football clubs that can cause a real problem, right? I know it was under when Emery was over there, but they cause Arsenal a lot of problems in the Europa League, right? I know it's a while back, but as I said, they're always one of those teams that can cause a bit of problem. And someone in the chat said, "Can he play?" Yeah, Solomon can play. Different rules in UEFA, so they don't do the whole "you're not allowed to play against your parent club." You can if Villareal want to pick him.
Can you imagine? Lubo, Matty K, all these people that are telling me how great Solomon is. Can you imagine? It's 0-0. Solomon comes on in the 80th minute, and in the 88th minute, he rounds 5 Spurs players and tucks it in the bottom corner. We would never, ever hear the end of it, would we? Do you know what I mean? We would never hear the end of it.
Yeah. Nah, like it won't happen. I'm not putting that into the zeitgeist of the world because it can't happen. Like it's all my phone. Literally, Matty K will not stop messaging me if it happens. It literally, he'll message me every day for the rest of like the life. And the worrying is he's younger than me, so he'll outlast me, so he will never stop messaging me.
he'll be at your funeral going, I loved Perchy. And I tried to tell him about Manor Solomon back in 2025. Yeah, I Matty K, wherever you are. He's never in the chat anymore. He's never in the chat. But never mind. Chris,
never mind. We'll just move on. Yeah.
Yeah, Chris, it's an interesting one, right? Because whilst I do think we should win, what we'll end up doing probably tomorrow is getting a lot of people that say, "Oh, I'm predicting 6-0, I'm predicting 5-0," because they don't watch these teams play, right? And I think we've got to guard against that sort of complacency when playing these European teams, especially experienced European teams.
Yeah, I actually think it's a great test for us for lots of reasons, because it'd be really interesting. It's interesting for us as fans to get an insight into Thomas Frank and see how is he going to manage this squad this season, because you can't just. Surely no one is expecting us to play the same team as we did at the weekend. So he's going to rotate to some extent. It'll be interesting to see what that looks like. And it's an interesting test of our sort of squad depth up against what I think is a very capable side who have started reasonably well in La Liga. So, it's not going to be a walk in the park by any stretch. And that you will get an absolute huge meltdown, of course, if we don't win. And it will, you know what it's like. Yeah. That's the life of being on YouTube, I guess. But they're no mugs, so let's not just think this is a walk in the park, because absolutely it's not. We've got every chance of winning, but let's see. He's come up with a pretty good plan for most games so far. Not every game, but most games this season. So let's see what he does tomorrow. It's also his first ever Champions League game.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting. I've not been to the stadium. Obviously, people know I'm a season ticket holder. I actually haven't been since before the Europa League final. So it's the first time I've been for a while. So I'm looking back there.
Going back there. And listen, just because YouTube's crazy like this, we've got Daley Thompson in the chat. And if anyone knows who Daley Thompson is, then you're of age as well. Big up to you. Lots of people asking about predicted lineups and whether Mwani will play. I'll show you. This is what I think the team will be tomorrow night. I could be 100 million% wrong. Vicario is the goalkeeper, by the way. That's what I think we might go with. Maybe not Kolo Mwani starting, but I do think the other three will definitely start. Maybe Odegaard's out there, maybe Simmons out there with Papa Sarr or Bergvall in the 10. But what do you guys reckon?
Yeah, right. I'll be disappointed if Kolo Mwani doesn't start. I think if you're going to get in a player on loan, you've got to, and especially when you've not got potentially a future with him, in the sense of he may come and go on a 1 year. You've got to utilize a player like that. I could see it being like that. I think that's how it will set up, in my opinion. I think they will maybe Spence in a left back over Udogie, but whichever. And I think moving up, I think the rest of it's probably nailed on. Maybe they might have a way of putting Kolo Mwani down the middle, Richarlison on the left.
Yeah.
And so, some sort of lineup in that sense. But I think probably that will be the lineup. Probably the only change I would make is probably start Spence over Udogie, but I'm not really against either.
I think there'll be more. I think Savva's right. I think Udogie will play for sure. Spence, Porro right back. I'm not bothered. I don't think Paulinho will play, if I'm honest. Really? Not saying I don't want him to play, but we've got a manager. We've got to think about Premier League as well. So it wouldn't surprise me if we didn't start with him. Mwani, the big question mark for me is fitness. Do you want to start him? Do you want to bring him off the bench? So I expect that. I think we'll probably see Brennan Johnson somewhere in the starting lineup.
Oh, okay. I can see that.
Let me change this then. So I reckon. Oh, hang on. What's going on there? What on earth happened there? So by Chrissy's reckoning, you're probably going Johnson there, and you think not Paulinho. So maybe a Bergvall or a Sarr? Who are you going with, Chris?
I mean, literally toss of a coin for me.
Quickly say one.
I mean, I would start with Sarr personally over.
I would go Sarr in this game personally.
So there we go. So Chris is going. So you going for more like that, Chris, with Sarr? Because I can't believe that Bentancur's not going to play 2 games in a row.
Bentancur will play for that reason. I think that's closer to what I expect. I also wouldn't be massively surprised if Kudus didn't start, but I don't know. It all depends how he looks at it and thinks.
Hang on. We can't just. Sorry, Chris. We're not just glossing over that. That absolute. You've had a Lubo there. You've had an absolute.
I wasn't glossing over it. I was expanding on it, but.
Why would Kudus not play?
It's just the balancing with the load on the players, right? You can't play him every single Champions League game and every single Premier League game, right? So you got to take your pick, which is what we saw with Bentancur, right? I think Bentancur's in our strongest team. That's why I expected him to play at the weekend, but he's balancing it and said, right, you can step out of this one because that's why Bentancur will definitely play tomorrow. I'm sure of it, and so there's nothing to do with his ability. Obviously, you've just got to balance the squad. And you've got to try and keep people happy. So what I was about to say was it depends on how strong does he think he needs to go in order to get the result against Villareal. And
okay, so no Kudus. Who goes there then?
I mean, if he decides that he's not going to start with Kudus, you probably end up with Johnson there and Odegaard on the left, right? Not what I want to see. I'm just trying to sort of predict what might he do.
So I'll be honest. If I see that tomorrow, I'll be honest. If I see that front 3 without Simmons, these 3 here, if I see that, I'll be well upset. If Tottenham getting back into the Champions League and our front 3 is Odegaard, Richarlison, and Johnson, I mean, I'll be really, really, really upset.
I get that.
Really?
I just don't think you can go with your strongest team in every Champions League game and then in the Premier League as well. You're just going to run into the ground.
But Chris, wouldn't you argue? I think I get I get where you're coming from, but wouldn't you want your first game to be the mate? Like you don't, for example, because and I criticize Ange for this, so I have to be balanced with it. Remember the game in his first season against Fulham. I gave him pelters for rotating massively, and then we got knocked out of the Carabao Cup in the second round. I would have to have this. I can't then be a hypocrite. I would do the same if Frank goes and rotates, not massive rotations, but in the point of taking out your players like Kudus and Bentancur and Paulinho. So I mean, you put Bentancur in, but Paulinho and Kudus, and taking them out of the side for the likes of Sarr, maybe Johnson, Odegaard, for example. I'd be sitting there going.
I'll put it this way, Perchy. I very much doubt Paulinho and Kudus are going to start Saturday, Tuesday, Saturday. So I think they're not going to start one of those games.
But I think.
Hang on. Can I just refute that 1 second? Why can't we? If I'm not wrong, next midweek. So, like in 9 days' time, we're playing Doncaster, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, wouldn't you go? I mean, Paulinho, I get more because I don't know if he's 100% fit still and his age and stuff. But wouldn't you play Kudus for Villareal, Brighton, and then say right for you go on the bench against Doncaster, and that's where you give Brennan Johnson or Odegaard or Tell or whoever a run out?
I mean, I'm not saying what I want to happen, right? I'm just trying to predict what he might do.
We're just talking.
It all depends, right? Because there's two factors at play. One, what's the best team to win? But it's not just about rotating for fresh legs. It's also about trying to keep your squad happy, right? So that's what he's got to factor. And we'll learn tomorrow some of this, right? We'll learn.
Yeah, of course.
How much does he rate a Johnson, and how much does he really give a shit about whether Johnson and Odegaard are happy or not? Because if he doesn't rate them at all, it makes no difference, right? Just go with your best players and sod them.
I could see Brennan Johnson playing tomorrow. That's the one out of that list there, that's the one I could see playing.
I could see him playing out on that left-hand side. And maybe either Kolo Muani or Richarlison, depending on which one the manager picks. I could see him using him for those sort of late darting runs. It'll be interesting to see how we combat the 4-4-2. We don't really see it much anymore in football. So it'll be interesting to see how the manager goes, okay, because that Villareal play a really, really old school 4-4-2. It is literally 2 banks of 4 and your strikers up top. So they don't really sort of involve in anything. It is very, very simple. 2 natural wingers with 2 strikers and 2 sort of what I would say like busy bodies in midfield that are hard working. So look, it'll be interesting how because I think we're going to have a tough battle in breaking down Villareal. I'm not going to be one of these because you're going to have people that go, oh, we win 4 or 5-0. I think this is one of those games where a 2-0 win, you take it and run away because these aren't going to be easy. They're not an easy team to go out and beat. They'll make it very hard for us.
Do you think it's a 100% foregone conclusion that Vicario definitely plays?
Yes,
100%. I don't see how. Why would he not play?
Just based on how much does he rate Vicario and Kinski? I don't know. I don't know how close that
you
is.
don't swap your goalkeeper, in my opinion. Against Doncaster, he'll put Kinski in against Doncaster. He isn't going to. I don't see him. Champions League, right? You can't.
I think we're so early on in the season as well that I don't think we need to rotate footballers.
Agreed.
I think this is the key thing when you look at Liverpool. But sorry everyone, if you can hear all that. When you look at
dog treats.
Yeah, don't. I'm trying to work and I've just got noise and dogs.
You know you're a dog owner and you recognise the packaging.
Oh mate, hang on, Stewie, come. Oh, you know when you're trying to work and people. This is my job. Sorry, I've completely gone off kilt there because lots is happening in the background here. You know when you look at the likes of Liverpool and City and Chelsea and these clubs are used to doing this, aren't they? They're used to going, right, okay, we need to go strong. We've got a tough game. We need to go strong. I would be very frustrated if I see Johnson, Richarlison, Odegaard. Like, I genuinely don't think that as a front three is good enough for Champions League football. I think you've got to go with, depending on fitness, with Muani, but I think you've got to go with your Kuduses. Kudus, for me, not only is he the one that carries the ball and gets us up the pitch, he's the one that wins all of the corners, which is where we're very dangerous from. If you look at most of those corners against West Ham, that's from him taking on players and then someone getting a tackle in or somebody blocking his cross. So I worry without Kudus that we don't have that je ne sais quoi, if I'm honest. He'll get a lot of stick for GA, but he offers so much more to this football team than just goals and assists. He really does.
Just to be clear, this is not what I'm advocating. I'm just speculating that we don't really quite know at this stage how Thomas Frank views it. And this time tomorrow, we'll have some level of answer to that question. So,
yeah, of course.
Here's the question: what were your and also the chat as well? Like, if Kolo Muani doesn't start tomorrow or doesn't even get on the pitch, what was everyone's thoughts on that? On a serious, because I sit back and go, and I kind of touched on it just a moment ago. But when does a player get fit if they don't even get half an hour on a pitch? Like,
I reckon he'll get minutes. I think he'll get minutes tomorrow. I don't know. Look, I think we've got to realise, and this is why all summer, when I sound like a broken record saying, don't wait until the last day of the window to do your business. Sorry, guys, can I leave you for 2 minutes? Sorry, can I leave?
Yeah. I'm assuming someone's just saying, well, fitness is why not leaving stuff for the last minute and getting your business in. Look, for me, I'm at the stage where I would want to see Kolo Muani starting. I think that's just a personal, my thoughts on it, because personally, I think he's better than any of the strikers we have. And if you're going to bring him in, get him to start. And if, for example, his fitness isn't there, bring him off at half time. I think
I get that argument, mate, but I just never see in professional football that they do it that way around. It's so rare that they start them and then bring them. They always bring them off the bench, don't they, if they're not quite fit?
Sure, no, I agree with you, Chris. I do agree with what you're saying. I think optics wise, maybe it's me being a little bit knee jerk in the sense of it all, but I sit there and go, you bring in a striker on loan with no obligation to buy, so there's no commitment to sign him. There's no option to buy. So it's a player that is literally only coming here for a season. You've got to start utilising it. Let's see. You're right. You could be right in the sense of he might come on second half. He'll go and nab a couple of goals.
And you've seen the same elsewhere, mate, with Šeško at United, and even Isak got left out, right, for Liverpool yesterday. So,
well, I think Isak was more of the sense of he literally hasn't had any time at the club, right? He literally signed and then went straight off to international duty. So you could argue, in theory,
he hasn't played and he's been training on his own, right? So I think parallels are there with Moani.
He played for Sweden, though, didn't he? Am I right in saying?
Yeah. I'd like to see him start. I don't think he will. But I'm not going to overreact to that. I think that's just Thomas Frank taking time.
I wouldn't say it's an overreaction. I'm sort of asking the question in the sense of when you've got a player that is only going to be here a short time, use him right. I think we have this conversation about loan players. If you're going to bring in loan players, and I'm a massive advocate of the loan system. If you're going to loan players, they've got to be playing football, right? And they come in to be better than what you've already got. So, look, I think you might be right in the sense of, I think you might be right in the sense that he'll probably come on the second half. But maybe it's just because I'm so bored of the strikers that we have that anything at the moment is
mate, that's another point. Did you see that Solanke again hasn't trained?
What has happened to him? I love whenever.
That would sum up the signing of Moani, wouldn't it?
Yes.
See, my theory is I don't think there was any appetite to go for Moani. I genuinely don't. I think this was a last couple of days, an opportunity's become available. Solanke's not 100% fit. Let's go for it. And this is why again, people call me negative, but I'm used to it. This is why when people are going, oh my God, what a window. I don't think that was planned. I think if Solanke was 100% fit on that last day of the window, I've got a feeling we wouldn't have got Moani and we would have just stuck with Simmons, Paulinho and Kudus. That's my opinion.
No, but I think it's that as well. I think people have kind of made this notion that, we didn't get a left winger, so he was the left winger option. All the news came when the Solanke news came, so you have to sort of take a little bit of pinch of both of those. Because if, for example, if Kolo Muani was the backup option to come in on the left wing, as that was the reason we couldn't, then why did that not happen days before? Not on deadline day, not literally 12 hours after we getting an injury to Solanke.
Exactly. So, listen, I know the problem is when you say things like this, everyone loses their mind and goes, oh, my God, 4 amazing players. But, look, I'm not too worried about Moani yet because I feel it's a real – sorry, I was trying to say this before I got sidetracked. I feel that when you sign players after the season started and those players haven't had a proper pre-season, this is the downside to that you are playing games of football now without the new signings because they are not fit enough to play.
Yeah.
And this is why, especially to your point, Perchy, is when you bring in a loan player, the only reason you should be bringing in a loan player is one of two things. One, they are absolutely not going to really play, but they're going to come and get a little bit of experience and they're back up and they know it. Or two, they're better than what you've got. And for me, Moani is definitely one of our best 11 players. I just don't think that he's going to be fit. He's not played since, if I'm not wrong, wasn't it since the beginning of July, if I'm not wrong?
Yeah,
he played the Club World Cup, didn't he?
In the Club World Cup.
Yes, Club World Cup, yeah.
Because other than that, let's be fair. If Moani was fit, Moani's my striker. I don't want any
Sure,
debate
100%.
about, oh, it should be him. Mawani's my striker if they're all fit. But Solanke, never injured, was he? Never injured at Bournemouth. Never
Here's
injured.
the question, and here's the question I want to throw out to you guys in the chat. If all three are fit, who does the, not what we think, who does the manager pick? Because, and I say it in the sense of, it's easy just to go, he'll pick Kolo Muani, he's a better striker. But here's a serious point. The manager's got to not just, he's got to think about the two players that are currently employed by the football club in that sense, right? Who does the manager pick if all three of them are available? And I mean, don't just everyone just go, oh, he's just going to 100% pick Kolo Muani, he's the better one. But think about it in the context of the two players that are employed by the football club are going to be sat on the bench then.
Yeah, I mean, I think you have always got the option to start two if Richarlison is one of them, because Richarlison can do a job on the left side.
On the left as well.
And right, that's my point. Solanke can't. Solanke, if he plays, has to be the centre forward. Mawani's the better player out of all three. Mawani's a bit more direct than the other two, right? Mawani's the guy, if we're threading a through ball, I want it to be Mawani.
Sure.
If I'm pumping balls into the box and I want a battle, I want Richarlison. I'll be honest, there's nothing I really want Solanke for. I know that sounds really harsh. I don't actually think he's that great at anything, but it's a good question, and I can't answer it without having seen Mawani play 1 minute for Tottenham. I can't quite answer it yet.
I'm trying to like broaden the thought process of it, because if you think about it on the optics of it, two players that are employed by the football club and one that's on loan, and the one on loan is ahead of the two marquee, because at the time, whether we like it or not, it's paying £60 million for £60 million each for two strikers, and they're both sat on the bench to a player that's on loan with no obligation or no option to buy. Just saying.
I think a lot there depends on how Thomas Frank sees it longer term and the conversations he might have had around what does the future look like for our striking options. And if it's, as it might well be, if it's been a summer where he says, look, ultimately, Solanke and Richarlison aren't up to it, but it just fell down the pecking order, or there weren't the right people to bring in permanently. So we've got Mawani. But if that's the case and we're expecting to go and buy a striker next summer, then he's not going to care too much about Solanke and Richarlison. On the flip side, and I struggle to believe that this is the case, but there's a world in which it could be. If he's happy with Solanke and we've just got Mawani to fill in a lack of squad depth and maybe out on the left, then he's got to seriously think about giving him proper game time, right? I mean, if Richarlison's his long-term choice, then I'm really worried. But I don't think that's I think the first one's far more likely. I think Frank probably looks at it and thinks neither of these are good enough long-term. So, and again, I think we'll get our answers over the next couple of months in how he picks his players and what games they play. We'll soon learn as to how much he rates Solanke long-term, because if he does rate Solanke long-term, he'll be playing more of the Champions League games up front. But I don't think that'll happen, but it might.
Out of the two, who's more likely to be sold? If you were to say one was going to get sold, who's more likely to get sold in the sense of what the manager wants? If he has to get rid of one next summer, who's more likely to get sold? Not who's the better or worse player. Like
I think I've got nothing to base this on. I'm going to put that out there from the beginning. This is just me thinking this. I think he prefers Richie.
I think so as well. I think so. I think Richarlison works harder in the system. And you know my thoughts on working harder. I don't base a strike on that. But I think for the system that we play, Richarlison works harder for...
I don't know about that. So, I mean, it's one of Solanke's best traits is his closing down.
But I just I get that. I just look at him. I just don't know what, apart from running around a bit and pressing a little bit. I thought Solanke was better for the Postecoglou system because he was more chaotic in the sense of he was able just to there was no real structure. I don't know. My thinks I don't think either of them is better than the other. I think they're on the same level for me. I think
this from Kevin.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, I always say this. I hate it when we describe a player's best trait as not.
You don't see what he does off the ball. No.
We never used to talk about strikers like that, did we?
Do you know what I mean? Like you could say that you go into a sales environment. He doesn't make many sales. Oh, but you should see what he's like in the kitchen for camaraderie. You know, like what are you talking about? You're not hired for that. But guys, I'll say this immediately. Next window or next summer, I want both gone. I didn't want either of them here, right? I didn't want either of them here. I will go to my grave saying neither of them are good enough for Tottenham. What will happen is, now, between now and the end of the season, they'll both have a decent spell at some point, right? And fans get all consumed by a decent spell, don't we? So there'll be a stretch of games where
Burnley at the start of the season is
there'll be a stretch of games where Solanke scores 5 in 7, right? And everyone will go, "That's the guy we bought." Right? He won't score for another 6 or 7 games, and then we'll still be talking about, but the 5 in 7. And I want a striker where we're not talking about patches. I want a striker where we are talking about, this is our undisputed number one. This is a good striker. This is a top footballer. And unfortunately, these two are not those guys for me.
Here's the question.
For me, personally, I just think Solanke's a much better player. I'm not saying he's brilliant, but I'm not even saying his control is amazing, but I think it's better than Richarlison's. I just think he's a better player.
I'm one of those either are crap, in my opinion.
Well, but to answer your question, Perchy, I think when we're planning for next summer, I'm pretty confident. There's no doubt in my mind that they'll be saying that in the pecking order of who to get rid of first, it'll be Richarlison, because his contract will only have a year left to run. That's your last window to get any money for him. Solanke's goes to 2030. So I think for that reason, Richarlison will be first one to go out the door.
Chris, knowing us, we'll give him a new contract.
You know it is up.
We'll give him a 3-year extension until he's 32 or something. Do you know what I mean?
Here's the question I'm going to ask. When I hear about, everything's great now because Daniel Levy's gone, and I'm going there. You know I'm talking to Lubo. If you're watching, I know you are. What I will say on this, let's see how we operate in offloading Richarlison and Solanke. Because previously, under older regimes, if you want to call it that, we have been diabolical in getting rid of players. Let's see how good we are about getting rid of a Solanke and Richarlison. That for me is the testing point. Because if we're still worried about trying to get £50 million for Solanke, forget about it. Let's just see, can we get rid of football players now? Because we are crap at it. So that will be interesting to see for me, because if we're still sat with both of them because we can't get rid of them, that'll be my point.
I'm just laughing at that comment that's up now. Just in my head, just the idea of saying that, Klinsmann, he works really hard.
Yeah, Harry Kane, he works hard, that boy. God.
Yeah, have you not seen the amazing finishes that Klinsmann does? Like, let's forget about it. He runs around a lot, though.
The levels that we've dropped to, and you know what? Half of me, and please take this in the right way, half of me doesn't even mind that those levels have dropped. And what I mean by that is, if everybody could just admit it, right? But what we do is the levels have dropped, and you go, yeah, the levels have dropped. What we do is the number of people, like, I won't say which WhatsApp group, but Perchy, you know, when we're in the WhatsApp group, right? I'm not in it anymore. And the 2 or 3 people that will convince you on their life that Richarlison is great, right? That it's not Richarlison's fault he's never scored more than 13 in a league season before. Injuries, playing on the left, the team he was in. Hang on. What are we doing here? What? Yeah, but if you actually look at the number of minutes per goal, hang on. What are we doing here? This is a bloke whose best ever season is 13 league goals, right? 13 league goals. Can you imagine? Can you imagine Harry Kane only scoring 13 league goals. Like that's
Didn't
where
Kane
we're
do
at.
that like in like 2 months at one point? It was ridiculous. Like, but it's this sort of hope that all of a sudden, Richarlison's now going to, like, the amount of people telling me that Richarlison's going to get 20 league goals this season. Like, what planet are you on?
I
Like,
don't know.
Like, oh yeah, but it's a different system. He's never done it anywhere he's been at. I think you said like, the best he's got was what, 13. Like, and all of a sudden he's going to get 20 plus. It's ridiculous.
Also, the stats, as we know, they show something, but they can be manipulated. So just when you said that about minutes per goal, Savva, I just called something up in the background just to check whether my assumption was correct. It's not just about how many you score or who you're scoring them against. So in that 23-24 season when he went on a run, I've just pulled it up. So he scored his goals against Sheffield United, Newcastle, Forest, Everton, Bournemouth, Man United, who were poor, Brentford, Everton, and then he scored that goal away at Liverpool, if you remember. So it's all very well if you're going to stat pad by scoring against the poorer teams, but if you're never going to show up in the really big games, which I don't think he does really.
I just think for me, it's the bit for me. I'm not even one of those that like cares. Like, stat pad what you want. I fucking love. I don't mind people doing that. But for me, it's do it over a period of like. What worries me is he'll have a month, right, where he goes and scores 5 or 6 goals in a month, and everyone will lose their absolute marbles. He'll play against Doncaster and get a couple, and then go and score maybe against Brighton on the weekend, and then everyone will lose their marbles. For me, my concern is the gaps in between his goals. That's my worry.
Well, have a look at this. Have a look at this, right? This is a guy who 108 in 378 games, right? 108 in 378. Now, if you actually look, he has not scored more than 13 league goals since 2019. 2019-2020. There you go. He got 13 league goals in 2019-2020. Right. So we're going back, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, nearly 6 seasons we're going back, right? And there are people that will fight tooth and nail because every time he scores a goal, the lines that get drawn are, just imagine if he stays fit. I've seen him fit. He didn't do anything.
Yeah.
Oh, but just imagine if he gets a run in. I've seen him have a run in the team. He doesn't do anything. And, but he works. So, like, he works hard. Like, me and Johnny always have this debate. Me and Johnny have this debate. God, how good was he against PSG? What, because he worked hard? How good was he against Burnley? Right, okay, he got a couple of good goals against Burnley.
He's bullied off the ball so easy.
I just want us to have a striker where we don't talk about working hard. We go, the striker we've got here now is great because he just scored a brace against Man City. Oh, I like. Does anyone talk
about Haaland's work rate?
Well, don't get me started on Haaland, because the amount of absolute idiots that tell me he's crap because all he does is score goals. He's like the anti like Richarlison. Oh, he doesn't work hard enough. Blah blah blah. I want my goal scorer scoring countless amounts of goals.
Yeah, but you know, we have some fans who literally, if we're going to sign Haaland, they go, yeah, but are you leaving out?
Work hard enough. Fuck that! I don't give a shit. He scores.
Can't leave Richarlison out for Haaland. Come on.
But honestly, we have a really crazy fan base. Real crazy fan base, man. Like, it's mental. The amount of people have said to me about Haaland's not. Do you know that the one debate that happens, and you guys have probably had it before with people, the debate that really grinds me is who's a better striker, Harry Kane or Erling Haaland? For me, it's the most irritating conversation because it's like, oh yeah, but Kane's such a better football player. Haaland is scoring goals at the rate that Kane wasn't even scoring consistently. I mean, Kane was on loan at teams like Leyton Orient, whilst Haaland was bagging in goals at Dortmund at the same age ranges and stuff. Like,
mate, I find that a mad debate, mainly because can you find two more different strikers than Haaland?
Sure. Agreed.
But I agree with you, but it's just this notion for me that it's just, I find it really, really like crazy. Like, Haaland is on course. If he stays at Man City, he will break Alan Shearer's record.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
He will smash it through the park at the moment. Does anyone actually know how many goals he is in? I couldn't find it. You're on mute, mate.
1 second. I pulled it up earlier. Let me bring it up again. I mean, his goal scoring record we worked out was a goal. His strike rate is 0.86. By the way, 0.86. The average for a striker is 0.3. So hang on, bear with me.
And he's what, 25, 24?
There you go. Look at this. He's 20. He's just turned 25, right? He's
Right.
just turned 25. Let's have a look at this. Here we go. So, is that? Nope. That'd probably help if I brought up the right one, wouldn't it?
Oh.
Share screen. Erling Haaland. So here you go. So have a look at that, right? So Erling Haaland, he's got 129 in 150 for Man City, right? 86 in 89 for Dortmund, 29 in 27 for Salzburg, right? He's got if we go a bit further down for Norway, he's got 48 goals in 45 games for Norway, right? And this guy is 25 years of age. You would say he hasn't even hit his peak yet. 284 goals in 350 games. Yet every time someone talks about Erling Haaland, you would think they're talking about Richarlison. Do you know what I mean? The way people go, he don't do a lot off the ball. Did you see him yesterday? His link-up play.
I thought he was
His hold-up
outstanding
play.
yesterday.
His passing was brilliant. People go, he don't do anything outside the... Sorry?
He made that back three
Mad.
look like, and I don't mean it in a disrespectful way. He made that back three look like a League Two side. Like he carved through. Like he was on a different level to those back. That he played against that back three on his own at times. Like, and they just didn't. They didn't even have a clue what he was doing. He was all over. He could, if he wanted to yesterday, he could have had 4 or 5 if he wanted himself.
I don't disagree with any of that, but my God, United are poor, aren't they? Oh God, they're dreadful.
Do you know what? The one that I always people think that I always think the one thing I'll hold my hands up. I got it wrong with Amarin. I thought he was a manager. I went, give it him some time.
When I was just driving back, mate, from yours, I had a call from my best mate who's a United fan, and we were talking about it. And I was saying to him, I see so many parallels with United and Tottenham from last season's Tottenham, and the way things are going just strikes me as Postecoglou over again.
For me, do you know what annoys me? He hasn't got the resume or the CV to have the arrogance he has in press conferences. Like when I heard him, when he said, I'm not changing, blah, blah, blah. I said, look, I like the fact that you want to stick by your morals and stuff. But at the moment, you're Man United. You shouldn't be losing every week. Like that's.
I said this last season. When you come into a job, it's kind of admirable early on to say, these are my values, I'm sticking to. But there comes a point where you've been there long enough and it's not working.
Sure.
And this is what I mean. It's like Tottenham last season. I'd go every week thinking it's going to be the same. It's going to be the same, and we're going to get absolutely wide open, and we'll get beaten. And that's what happened to Tottenham last season. That's what's happened with United. You just know before they start what it's going to be like. And you get a honeymoon period where that's okay, but there comes a point where you got to just hold your hands up and go, it's not working. I've got to change something. And if you don't, one of the things that's drove me nuts over the last 5 years or so are people that advocate for plan B is just do plan A better as some sort of coaching genius, whereas I think it's coaching negligence. But
isn't he Ange? Isn't he a Portuguese Ange?
I totally agree with you, mate. And I agree with Perchy. I didn't think that when he came in, but he's getting to.
I thought, this guy has got something fresh, but he hasn't. But here's the question. I'll ask you guys again. Another question for you guys in the chat. Who, if he stays this season, who finishes higher, Everton or Man United? Seriously. If you went, I'm going to put a tenner down the bookies.
I can't see that he stays the season. Listen,
no, but let's just say for hypothetical reasons for this conversation, who finishes higher? Because I look at Everton, I go, they play better football than Man United right now.
The problem is, right, it's the same thing with Man U, where I turn around and I go, well, surely they can't continue being this bad. But they do continue to be this bad. This guy, I genuinely believe if this guy went to a 4-2-3-1 or a 4-3-3, this guy would have so much more success. And at the moment, it's arrogance and stubbornness which isn't allowing him to do it because, look, he's got the dreaded vote of confidence today, hasn't he? The Man United owners have said, they're sticking by their man. They've got Chelsea next at Old Trafford. Can they lose? I mean, if they lose to Chelsea at Old Trafford, that will be one win from their first 5 games. They're playing one game a week. I genuinely, you know what? For me, it just feels simple. If I'm Man United, the key things I want to do is I want to get Bruno Fernandes in a 10. I want to get Mbuemo out wide right. I want a left-sided player and Sesko up top, right? And then I want to have 2 midfielders behind Bruno Fernandes so that Bruno can just do what he does best, score goals, gets assists. At the moment, he's got this weird 3-4-3 going on where Bruno doesn't fit into the front 3, so ends up being in the middle 2.
It's like shoehorning. It's like trying to shoehorn your best player into a random position. It doesn't make sense,
mate. It was like, when we had Eriksen in his prime.
Yes,
I didn't want Eriksen playing in centre mid with Dembele. I want Eriksen floating in and around the striker, creating, and it feels like he's got the players to play a 4-3-2, whatever. He won't go away from the 3-4-3. It's madness.
I find it weird. You're right, because you've got that midfield. That if you want to use Tottenham's setup and use that as a sort of a parallel, they've got their midfield destroyer in Ugarte. They've got that kind of techie young player in Kobe Mainu. If they wanted to play a more high energy, like a bit like our Papa Sarr kind of high energy midfielder in there. Your Bruno Fernandes, you put in your 10 and just go to him. You're the main man. Dominate the game. You've got Mbuemo's brilliant out on that right hand side. You're right. They've got a system and a team that can play a great 4-2-3-1, but he'll get sacked. He'll get sacked for it, and it is the same. It all for me. The man. Can I just say this is everything? What is happening at Man United? Why I'm so glad we didn't just keep Ange for the sake of it. Because we'd have been in this position going, fine, we need to find a new manager now. Who's out there? And there's nobody around. Yeah. And that is exactly why I was so glad we got rid of him, brought in a coach now who had a whole pre-season. Because let's be fair, we're looking in the mirror going, this could have been what we're like right now.
Do you know the difference between Amorim and Ange?
One's Australian, one's Portuguese.
There's one difference about them. And that's a Brennan Johnson goal.
Good point, actually. That's
a Brennan Johnson goal. Imagine it had been a goal at the other end. Man United would be sitting there the same with a manager who is stubborn, has scraped over the line, won't change the way he plays, but he's still there. And I'll tell you what, this could be, I will go back to Spurs in a minute, this could be Ineos's undoing here. Because Ineos have gone in there, promised the world, said they're going to change things. And at the moment, I mean, the Man United fans, in a way, it's funny, right? Because, guys, I mean, definitely Chris, I mean, you're close to my age. From like the age of me being at school right the way through to about 7, 8, 9 years ago, Man United were everything. If Man United didn't win the league, you'd go, oh, they'll win it next year because that's just what Man United did. The problem that Man United fans have got now is that Man United, their fans still talk about them as though it is 2010. They talk about them as though it's the Fergie era. So everything is, but we're Man United. At some point, that football club needs to take a backward step, completely strip down, implement a coach, not win now managers, implement a coach and build a structure. But the Man United fans will go, but we've got to win now. These are our standards. These are our ambitions. No manager is going to take over Man United and be anywhere near winning a title or a Champions League for years. For years.
What I said to my mate, like I said, he's a United fan. I said, it's astounding for a club that was the standard bearer since the start of the Premier League through to 2010, 2012 was the last time they won the league, was it? How far away they are from it now is absolutely unbelievable. And
but you know what?
You know who they really need in the dugout. And it's not going to happen certainly anytime soon, fortunately. But they need somebody like Thomas Frank in there, don't they?
I think they need a Glasner.
I was just
or
about to say
Irioli.
that. Oliver Glasner.
You know what? More than that, boys, this football club, their football club, needs more than a managerial change. That football club needs to be ripped out from the inside out, right?
Yeah.
That football club can't just get a new coach and everyone goes, there you go. They need to do what we've done this summer. Brand new medical team, brand new manager, brand new coaches, brand new directors, brand new marketing. They need everything we've done this summer. Man, you need to do. But I'm telling you, the fans won't settle. If Glasner went in there and said, right, you know what? Give me 3 years. The Man United fans will go, you're not having 3 years. We're Man United. You're not having Chelsea fans do the same, right? These clubs that are used to winning, they do the same. What do you mean 3 years? No, you've got 12 months, mate.
You say that they were remarkably patient with Ten Hag before they turned on him. They put up with a lot.
Some were, yeah.
But here's the question. Do you know what? I think it's a good point, and it's a good topic to go in for. Here's the question I would say. I think they need a Glasner, but do you know what they need to stop doing? They need to go in and buy workers. It's all great spending loads of money on the Sescos and the fancy names, the Cunhas and the Buemos. Do you know the one midfielder they could be crying out for right now? A Scott McTominay. But they get rid of a player like that.
Yeah,
they get rid of a Scott McTominay because he's not the glamorous midfielder, because you can get in a sexy name like an Ugarte. They need midfielders like Scott McTominay in there that will just go, do you know what? I'm just going to work hard. I need hard workers. And until Man United start buying properly and stop going out there just splashing unscrupulous amounts of cash onto attacking players, which is fine, but they'll be in the same position in 6 to 12 months and 24 months, because that's their problem, right? They need to go and they need proper squad building.
Perchy, since match day 12 of last season, Man United in the Premier League in 31 games have 31 points. Only one other club has got 31 points in that time.
Tottenham Hotspur.
So when people in the chat are saying, "God, Ange is better," bearing in mind, 9 of those points have come.
I saw a stat earlier that we've already got 24% of our entire points total from last season after 4 matches.
Oh my God!
There you go. Right. So this is, bearing in mind, this is with 9 points that we've accumulated this season.
Yeah, it's a good point. Yeah.
Right. So when people are going, "Oh, Ange is much better than Amorim," no, they're both shit. And look at this. I know we'll move on from Man U in a minute, but look at this.
That's awful, isn't it?
Yeah, I know. It is shocker.
Right.
And by the way, they've been super lucky in some of the results they have had as well. Really fortunate to get like last minute winners, that penalty against Burnley.
Penalties and stuff, right? Yeah, it's mad. But look, I think it's. When are we going to get to a position where we're not talking about Man United like they were used to? I think we need to get to a position where we talk about Man United like a big football club. Yeah, big by name, but by on the field, nowhere near it.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. Let's move back to Spurs, but I feel like Man United right now, and I'll tell you why. Since I've come back from holiday, today, I've been live 3 times. I've not had one subscriber all day. Not one. If anyone in the chat would like to change that for me, the link is pinned, but there it is again. And we've got 400 in it and 155 likes. Guys, I know the transfer window's shut. I know there's no exciting bombers coming our way, but we're still out here grafting for you, giving you content. So please smash that like button. Please subscribe as well. It'd be much appreciated. Guys, look, let's move it back to Spurs a little bit. Go on. You want to say
I was
something?
just going to say, can we talk about another subject?
Go on.
We talk about refereeing.
Oh, you want to? Oh, Jesus! You want to talk about refereeing?
Can we talk about a little bit of refereeing for 20 minutes or so? Just a little snippet.
I'll tell you what. Let me start then by asking this question. I haven't seen it, so I don't know if anyone in the chat has, or if either of you two have. I missed Dermot Gallagher doing Ref Watch today.
Yeah.
Has anyone seen it?
Yeah.
I haven't. No, I do want to hear it, but I just think like
I'll be careful with Dermot Gallagher though. But yeah, I've seen it.
Okay, hang on. Before Perchy goes, what did he say? That's all I'd like to know about the Spurs goal that was disallowed. What did he say?
Goal that was disallowed. He basically said, I agree with him on this. He said the ref's got kind of tunnel vision, so which I understand, right? If you're the referee, you don't see everything, and the corners are very difficult to manage. And if you've only seen a part of it, and you've seen Van der Ven go into the back of Walker-Peters, and that's all you've seen, and he said, yeah, the ref's got tunnel vision, but there's so much going on that in reality, it's very difficult to pinpoint any real offence. Right? They're all doing the same thing. So I think the view is that should have been shouldn't have been given.
VAR look at it? Did
VAR
look at it, Chris?
VAR review every goal, but this is where I almost lose faith here in trying to have the discussion because people.
I'm open to it. I'm open to it.
Not with you guys.
I'm open to it.
But this is where, with VAR, essentially, I think football as a whole has agreed that it gets too involved, and we don't want to be in the stadiums and watching on TV and having reviews every 20 seconds and the game getting held up. Okay, I think we agree on that. So therefore, if we're going to say, look, we only want VAR to get involved for the super obvious, right? Super obvious. Then you've got to accept that there's going to be a raft of things that don't reach that high bar where you might well disagree with it. And me and Perchy were having this chat earlier where I was saying football fans need to get their head around the situation in which VAR will look at an incident and go, we don't necessarily agree, but it's not clear and obvious enough of a mistake to say that the referee's definitely got it wrong. And this is what's happened. And people will go, oh, we want consistency. Actually, I think I read earlier that in all of the 6 seasons since VAR has been in, there's only been one example of where a goal has been disallowed for a foul where they've got involved and said, you need to review that. So VAR takes a deliberate view of staying out of it where the referees decided that there's enough contact to give a foul. And that's the problem with this. I look at it and I don't think that as a goal should be disallowed. I understand how the referees come to the conclusion, because it's easy for us to look with 20 replays from all these angles high up. The referee doesn't have that angle. He's got one chance to see it. He's got to monitor everybody in the penalty area. So he's only seen a bit of it. So I can understand why he's made the decision. And I can also understand VAR looking at it going, I'm not convinced that I would have made the same decision. But where the referee's saying what I've seen is Van der Ven go into the back of Walker-Peters and Walker-Peters go down, you can't then go, that's clearly and obviously not happened, because that has happened. It's just the whole context hasn't, the referee's not seen it. But we've got into this tricky scenario. VAR isn't there to correct every mistake. VAR is there to correct your Henry handballs. It's there if a defender saves it on the line with his hand and the ref's not seen it. It's there to fix that. It's there to fix the penalty that's been given when there was no contact whatsoever. So when there are these levels of contact, mostly I expect VAR to stay out of it. And that's exactly what happened. That doesn't mean I think it's right. And one last point before I hand over to you guys. There's an independent panel that reviews these things that's made up mostly of ex-players. And they take 2 votes. They take a vote on, was the referee's decision correct? And then a separate vote on, should the VAR have intervened? And quite often, and this football fans need to get their head around this because it is a bit of a mind warp, you will have the conclusion that the referees made an error, but VAR should not get involved. So you need to understand that.
Is that what fans? Because listen, I'm looking at the comment. I'm playing devil's advocate here, right? I'm playing devil's advocate. There's a lot of the comments will come in straight away, going, "Well, hang on. Isn't that VAR's job to say, ref, you got it wrong?
No,
we want that." Or ref, did you see Mateus Fernandez bundling over Van de Ven? So is that not VAR's job in those scenarios to change that? I'm just asking the question.
I just want to clear on these things. And I think Chris made a really good point because I've gone back and checked it because I had him.
It does happen. I think
the Van de Ven
one for the year.
Guys in the chat, the Van de Ven push and stuff for the penalty, the ball wasn't in play, so they can't give a penalty if the ball wasn't in play. That one is the first. Clear that one really simple. I didn't realise it, but Chris, you told me, and I went back and looked and went, yeah, the ball wasn't actually in play. The one, and this is the bit I think people need to understand the referee's decision and what the law of the game is, right? In the sense of the usage of VAR. And we had this conversation earlier. So, and in the sense of, I think what fans don't realise what the way it is there. In the sense of VAR wouldn't have got involved, they would have left the decision to be on the referee, because it's not one of the. For example, if for example Van de Ven, for example, had clattered somebody and then the goal had been given and they'd given it, the ref would have said, "Well, hang on, you've just missed a clatter of a tackle that you need to go look back on." What people need to realise is the push that everyone's talking about was, I think the goalkeeper had pushed Van de Ven, who then pushed Kyle Walker-Peters. I think that's one. I think the one that was disallowed, right? The refs looked at it and he's got to make the judgment on Kyle Walker-Peters is on the floor. What's the outcome of that? He wouldn't have seen all of it. He would have seen Van de Ven's hands like that and made that clear, made that decision to disallow it. Which in the pre-test, I don't agree with the decision, but I can understand why the referee got there.
Yeah.
What I think what people need to realise is everyone keeps going, well, why didn't VAR say that this is it? Now, that's an interpretation of the rules. If we now want the referee to go and look at the screen again, that's a law that needs to be changed. Chris, you'll correct me if I'm right. The law of the game needs to change where, okay, cool. They'll say, look, something else has happened in this. It's not one of those where we feel that we should overturn it because it's not severe enough. However, if you go and have a look in the screen again, you can make that call yourself. That's the thing I think what people need to realise is the way that VAR is implemented. And this is the thing, right? And I had this, we can't have it both ways, right? We either want VAR to micromanage the games or we don't. So you've got, because I hear all this time is, oh, VAR's crap, it takes so much time, blah, blah, blah. Well, if either that or you have these decisions which are very subjective that can be misinterpreted, those ones might slip through the cracks. If that makes sense,
guys. Do you know something I'd like to talk about is it's again I'm playing devil's advocate here. I'm just reading the comments in the chat. A lot of people saying, oh, you know what, we should have ex-pros right in Stockley Park. Now, first and foremost, I'll tell you why I give that zero credit. If I'm an ex-player, why on earth do I want to go and sit in a VAR room being paid next to nothing to do these decisions? Second of all, aren't all the players going to have different interpretations anyway?
I said this.
Let me finish. Right, and this is the thing. I'm not sticking up for the rest for the weekend. I think that was a terrible decision. In general, though, I do understand from having done, because when I had to do my coaching badges, you have to go through your referees course as well, right? You have to understand the laws. Now they've changed over time in that, but the word that is used constantly when doing that is the word is interpretation, objectivity, and subjectivity, and all these different words which mean you might think what I don't. And that for me is, imagine, right? Okay, me and Chris, you and I, we're ex-pros. All right, we're ex-pros, right? So we now go and sit in Stockley Park and make a decision. Suddenly now is 100% of football fans going to be happy that every decision is right? What if someone goes, oh, yeah, well, I hated Chris as a player. That's, of course, he's given that shit decision. Oh, Savva, God, he played for Spurs. Of course, he's given that decision against Arsenal. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
I don't know. That's just the way I see it. That fans are trying to come up with solutions for things that. And the last thing I'll say on it. Sorry, I know I've rambled on a bit there. If I'm a multi-millionaire ex-footballer, right? I'm a multi-millionaire ex-footballer with my 10-bedroom house car, and someone goes, today, could you go and sit in that VAR room and make decisions and get vilified? Nah. No, I've got absolutely no need to do that. Nah.
I don't, and I'll be honest, I don't actually understand what it would benefit, right? Let's be fair, most of these professional football players never refereed a game, right? So it's very easy to go, oh, yeah, we'll just put ex-professionals in there. Well, they're going to have exactly their own opinions, like the same people sat in there with their own opinions. You're just putting a different face on a screen, right? Like, look at
Perchy, just on that point, Perchy, on that point, sorry to interject, but you know when they go to Sky Sports at halftime, BT Sport or TNT, whatever it's called, halftime, and they'll go, oh, to the panel of 3 people. Oh, was that a penalty? And someone goes, Stonewall. And somebody else goes, not for me. Right?
Yeah, that's my point.
That it? They've all got different.
If you saw earlier this season when Everton had a penalty against them, against Leeds for a Tarkowski handball where he leans into it.
Yeah.
Now, I'll say people can disagree. I don't care. I'm just going to make a factual statement. In the laws of the game, absolutely blatantly clear that is a penalty kick. But if you watch the Sky Sports studio full of the ex-pros, the arguments that took place between people going, it's obviously a penalty, and those going, absolutely not a penalty. So how does it help? We all have different opinions. But on the VAR, quickly, I just want to make one point, because I get really frustrated because fans want to have their view without understanding A, the laws, B, the protocol of what VAR can and can't do, C, they've never refereed for a minute in their entire life, so they've got no understanding of how difficult it is. It's dead easy when you have 20 replays from high up. That's not what refereeing is. But VAR, for example, at the weekend, and we saw this on one of your streams, Savva, but people going, he should have just been sent across. He can only get sent across. So whatever he says to the VAR, I've disallowed it because Van der Ven has gone into the back of Walker Peters, causing him to fall over. At that point, VAR can only send him across if basically is factually wrong, right? They can't go, right. I don't know. I think if you had another look at this, you might come to a different conclusion. Go and have a look. They're not allowed to do that. So you might think that they should be able to do that, and I've got no issue with that. What I get annoyed at is people then don't differentiate between criticism to go. VAR so do you mean like
this comment, like this comment that said exactly what you've just said?
Yeah. Exactly that. So VAR cannot do that. So if you want to say they've got the protocol wrong and they need to, I'm fine with that. But the abuse that comes for the referees and the VAR for doing exactly what the laws of the game tell them to do because you don't understand it, that's where I get annoyed. Because just to revisit, I won't go on too much about this, but my job for 5 years used to be to look after and train referees, so that I saw the impact of this on the pitches, that the general disrespect towards referees and the abuse. That's fine at Premier League level. They get all the training. They have psychologists. The referees can deal with it. And it's all on camera. It's not on camera down the Dog and Duck on the Sunday morning. And I used to get the calls on the Monday. And the worst ones I used to get were from the parents of the 14-year-old kid who has gone to referee the under-12s. made a mistake maybe, and then some greasy-arsed adult has gone up to him and gone, "You're an F in this, you're an F in that," to a child. And this is where, for me, there's a whole wider issue of behaviour and respect. And that's the big difference. From me and Perchy's conversation earlier, I said, the big difference is not a decline in refereeing standards. I don't believe that to be true. And I think if anyone goes back and watches a game from the 80s or 90s, you can't seriously tell me the referees were better. But the big difference is our tolerance for any level of mistake is not there. And that's a society thing. We all want to be outraged at everything all the time. But back in the day, and I mentioned to Perchy, the 88 Cup final, Wimbledon, Liverpool, in the first 10 minutes, Vinnie Jones does a 2-footer on McMahon where he should get sent off. The ref gives a free kick. Jones, no card. No one runs up to the ref to moan. McMahon just gets up, runs off. The benches aren't outraged. It was a completely different game. That's what's changed. The refereeing standards have improved, but our tolerance for any mistake, if they're not 100% accurate, not even 100% accurate with the laws, 100% accurate with what you think the laws are, you're going to abuse them rather than. And that's the other thing. People don't just say they disagree. They get really angry about it and say it's incompetence, it's corruption. And I'm like,
can I just say, hang on, Perchy, one second. Can I just say, look, for me, I think that, again, some of what I'm about to say will be devil's advocate. I think a lot of this is referees these days. If I stick up for the referees and then I'll go against them, to be fair, I think a lot of this is referees now have more rules than ever to follow. Like there is more protocol to follow than ever, right? With the introduction of VAR. You know, what am I allowed to do? What am I not allowed to do? Who can tell me what to do in my earpiece? Who can't tell me what to do in my earpiece? Remember, it used to be ball. Do you remember? It used to be ball to hand, right? Do you remember? Hand to ball, sorry. It used to be hand to ball. That was the pen. Now, everything seems to be a penalty. Now, you know, for me, I'm not making excuses for the refs. I think it's a very tough job. As I said, when doing my coaching courses and going through the referees course, I realized, God, this is not fun. This is not fun. I don't like this. You're trying to keep up with the game. Something's happened over there. Something's happened here. Yeah. He's pushed. But hang on, what happened at the back post? Ref, didn't you see that? Well, no, because that happened there, and I'm looking here. Yeah, exactly. And the thing that I think would make a lot of this easier is twofold. One, I think, is on either the FA and the refs, and the other is on fans. One, I think that fans need to read the laws of the game. Where I get frustrated is when I'm on panel shows and people say things like, that's that. It's like, yeah, but have you read the law? Doesn't matter. Well, no, it kind of does. You do need to know the wording. For example, is that a tackle that's worthy of a yellow because it wasn't malicious versus, hang on, there was full intent to go for the player? That's a red. Fans don't care about the wording. I'm not saying that's the exact wording, but you know what I mean, guys. Fans don't care about the wording in that. They just go, the ref's crap because of that. But equally, I think fans should read up a bit on the laws of the game. That's me included. That's everybody. I think we should all read up a bit on the laws. And secondly, I think that I don't know who would be responsible for this, whether it's the FA or the refs or whoever, should make the laws a little bit more not obtainable, because they probably are, but get it out front and center in front of people at the beginning of the season, right? And I think if you hang on, I think if you had that, I think then you'd be able to have a lot more people that turn around and go, well, no, I get it. I get why that wasn't given, or I get the difference between the yellow and the red. I get why the ref looks at the monitor for X situation, but doesn't look at the monitor for Y situation. So I get why fans are frustrated. I do. I get why fans are frustrated. But at the same time, I feel like it's become so convoluted. And this is why, Chris, we will always disagree on this. You know I hate VAR, because I just think we've added so many layers to the game now, where every time a hand hits a ball, back in the day, the ref would make a spot decision, right? Penalty or not. And if the referee said no, you played on. Now, Every time a ball hits a hand, every player stops. They go VAR. Every fan wants VAR. I just think it's killed the game for me. That's only my opinion. Ran over.
I think
And
no, I think
big
no,
up
I
to my
just
troll. Big up to my troll, by the way. He's back. He keeps saying this. Savva, you are deluded. Here's why. If, for instance, if there was a handball tomorrow, you'd be crying for
VAR,
VAR when the ref was unsure. Danny, I think if you actually listen to what I say over the years, Chris will tell you this. Chris and I have had many a conversation about this. I am happy to remove VAR and actually have human error at the cold face, if that makes sense. I'm actually happy to have the human error in the moment. I would live with that. So please don't tell me what I would or wouldn't do, troll. But thank you, troll. You're
welcome.
And go and get a cuddle from your mum. You need a cuddle. Go and get a cuddle.
So, look, I think the point I was trying to make, and me and Chris touched on this earlier, and the sense of it was, do you know what? I've always been one of those, the refereeing's crap, and I did a bit. I thought about it, and I thought the reason why I think people think the refereeing standards are worse, and it's because of one thing. We get reviews and replays of every decision that a referee might get wrong, whereas back in the day you didn't get that. It was, as you say, cool, that's a foul. Oh, I wasn't sure about that. We move on. We don't talk about it again. But nowadays referees are so under scrutiny that any decision that is even contemplated, we then go and say, oh well, the refs had a crap game again, blah, the refereeing this. And it doesn't help when you've got pundits that haven't refereed and pundits that have never maybe don't understand all of the rules, making comments on fan-based discussions like we have, but don't actually know it. And it's one of those. I was one of those. It's the refereeing shit, blah blah. But I sat and spoke with Chris about stuff, and me and Chris have spoke for a time and stuff about it and stuff. And it actually, you take a step back and go, like, I think we have to realize. I think what people don't realize it from the comfort of their own sofas and watching it, they can rewind it back and put it slow-mo and stuff like that. The referee makes the decision on the spot. Whether you like it or not, he has to make a call there and then. Fans need to realize that when we are critical, and that's fine. I've got no issues with criticism. But when people start any situation, like I remember the other day when we played Bournemouth, everyone's going, "Oh my god, the referee was awful." I sat back and I went, "What? Based on what? Give me one massive decision the referee got wrong. Didn't think he got anything wrong." And what's this? Sorry, refs back in the day let's not talk about.
They still do.
It still happens now. Like. It still happens today, like for me. Like, and look, I think
actually, you saw Anthony Taylor a couple of seasons ago physically barracked at the airport in Italy, just because they didn't. I think
we've just got to, look, and this is the thing for me, right? Big up, download. I don't know who you are. But I think the one thing for me, and I'll leave it at this: fans have got to stick into a lane, right? You stick in one lane and you can't keep swaying whenever a decision is for or against you. You either want VAR to micromanage the referees throughout the game, or you get rid of VAR, or you keep it, but you accept that there will still be subjective decisions that are made. I think what fans do, depending on the decision, they go from, "Oh my god, VAR takes 5 minutes." Well, then don't complain about it when a decision goes against you. Because I heard this one. The one that does get to me was, "Oh well, it's a goal scorer. It was a goal that went in, so we should VAR it." At what position do you VAR? Do you VAR it from the last time it was out of play and go all the way back and micro-analyze everything that happened in it, or do you just pick up and go, "This is where we're going to stand by it"? Like, for me, if for example, if a goal goes in and they go, "Well, fine, we will check if there's any things and we'll allow the referee to make a call," I'm all for the changing of the rules on that. I just get really, really annoyed when I hear I hear really unhelpful commentary against it and unnecessary comments against it. Like, make your call on it, really.
Yeah, let's round up that that part of the show, Chris. I know you wanted a couple of things to say, and then move on.
Yeah. One was a really question for your standpoint, Savva, but I'll end with that. The first one is just to say that, just to be clear, referees never asked for this. It wasn't refereeing that drove all of this. It's the intolerance of the fans, the media, the players, the managers that wouldn't accept that the referees make mistakes. That's what led to VAR coming in. And Perchy's sort of right. It now creeps further. So we go, well, VAR will do this. Okay, but what about the corner before that? You can't. Where do you want to stop?
Where do you draw the line?
It's not the referees that did this, so you can blame them all they like. This is what football as a whole asked for. So be careful. But if you're going to go back, and it's a question for you, Savva, I suppose. Although I'll wrap it up with a few minor questions. These are sort of rhetorical. But when was the last time you saw a defender handball it on the line and a penalty not given? When was the last time you saw a penalty given for a clear dive with no contact? When was the last time you saw a foul take place outside the area and a penalty was given for it? These never happen anymore. Never. They've all gone from the game. When was the last time you saw an Henry handball go in? Doesn't happen anymore because VAR has actually fixed all of these things. So if you go back, you're reintroducing all of those. So I don't think we should go back. But my personal view, I just make two changes, I think, to start with. One, I'd rein it back to say VAR can only get involved with clear matters of fact, I think, which is essentially if he said, I've disallowed it for a push by Van der Ven, and there's no contact and Walker Peters has just thrown himself on the floor, get involved. If there's contact and that becomes subjective, don't get involved. But that also bakes in some level of inconsistency. I'm not going to get into that now.
Yeah.
The only other thing that I would like to see change, because I think this is absolutely mental, as a referee, you don't see everything. And there are times you haven't seen something. And this happened actually with, I can't remember the game. There was a game earlier this season where the ref clearly didn't see, relied on his assistant. So he's then had to give a penalty. He knows he hasn't seen it properly. And then the VAR are going to look at it. And there's a scenario in which the VAR will look at it and go, we don't agree. We think he's got it wrong, but it's not clear and obvious enough. So weirdly, the guys in Stockley Park have had 20 replays to have a check of it. The ref's not really seen it at all, but he's not given a chance to look at it again. So I don't think Stockley Park should say, oh, go and have a look. But I think the ref should be able to say, I don't know. Look, I haven't seen it clearly enough. Can I go and have another look? And the fact that we don't do that, I find bizarre. Although if we did, you never want to be the ref that has the opportunity to have a look and doesn't and gets it wrong. So I think that's the problem, is that you'd see that happen a lot. Because in all honesty, as a ref, you're very rarely 100% sure in many decisions. It's kind of like degrees of certainty, 80% sure, 90% sure. And if there's anything less than 100, you always want to be doubly sure. So you're always going to go, actually, I'll just go and make sure I got that right. And then you've got 20 VAR stoppages a game. So,
do you know what, Chris? I wouldn't mind keeping it if there was some real hard stops on it. So, for example, I wouldn't mind if VAR turned around to the ref and went, quickly go and have a look at the monitor. I think you've missed something, right? I would then introduce rules such as the ref goes to the side, not after 5 minutes of VAR having a look. You go and have a look. And I think you give the ref 30 seconds or 3 times to view it, right? 30 seconds. If you cannot draw a conclusion after 30 seconds, your original decision stands, right? If it's that, for me, is if it would be clear and obvious. What I think a lot of fans get frustrated about is you've got VAR who will spend 2-3 minutes going, yeah, ref, go and have a look. Then the ref goes over and has a look, and you're like, couldn't he have been having a look while this was going on? Like the game had stopped. I just think there needs to be, if they are going to keep it, just
the problem with that, I understand that. The problem with that is that there is zero tolerance for refereeing in football as a whole. So let's say we do that 30 seconds. The first time that the key moment is displayed to the referee after 31 seconds, football loses its mind. And that's the problem. No one just accepts where the line is. They always want the next bit and the next bit and the next bit. And this is where the issue lies with football as a whole.
Time. Say the referee gets to watch the clip back 4 times, right? He gets to watch the clip back 4 times. And if in watching it from 4 times, he can't say, oh, I want to change my mind. Right. No, we play on. I'm comfortable enough with that decision. What I think we get annoyed about is the ref standing at the side. We've already been stopped for 3 minutes because VAR are looking at something. Then the ref's seeing 1 replay, 2, 5, 7, 10. And you're like, this isn't clear and obvious if you need to watch something 10 times. Do you know what I mean? That's where I think fans do get very frustrated.
So my very final point, because I know we're going to wrap up, is as a fan, you just need to get your head around the fact that inconsistency in decisions is impossible to eradicate. It's absolutely impossible. And if you don't understand that, you fundamentally don't understand refereeing and the laws of the game and how it works. I'm more than happy to talk about it another time.
No, mate, but listen, I would say this. I completely get that. I completely understand that. I think in a lot of people's heads, I think they thought that VAR coming in would mean there are no decisions anymore. There are no wrong decisions. That there's no grey areas. That it's going to be everything spot on. And I think that
there's always grey areas. Yeah, but there's always grey, because if you just get a group of people in a room and just play an incident, how often does that entire room go? 100% of them just go, "That's the decision."
Chris, I agree with that, and that's why I don't think it matters when people are going get ex-pros in there. Yeah. It's like the old adage of when people go, "Oh, this pundit said so and so's the best defender in the world." Okay, but that pundit said the opposite. Yeah, but I don't like that pundit. Do you know what I mean? You're like, right. So what are we going with here? Anyway, look, I do need to stop the show because I've got Spurs 5 and I'll be sending you all over to the Spurs 5 in a minute. Big up to Cat Funt, who has said Greek man, turkey tan. Love you, Savva. Love you too. A Greek man, turkey tan. I'll take that. Big up to you, Cat Funt. Really appreciate that. Do you know what? These are the only super chats I've had all day. So big up to you, Cat Funt. Really appreciate that. My business. A user has said, if you could pick one, I would pick Levy all day. This man, he loves talking about Daniel Levy now. Big up to you. Thank you very much, Cat Funt. Really appreciate that. Guys, I have set the redirect all over to the Spurs 5, which is going to be right here in a minute, right here on this channel, but on a different stream. So please join me for that. Perchy, thank you very much. Chris, thank you. Goes to show that we can have difference of opinions without everybody losing their mind. It's good. Thank you very much, everyone.
Some people can, not everybody.
Yeah. Everybody, take care. Much love. I'll see you at the Spurs 5 in a minute. Type in Savva Raid. And as always, come on, you Spurs.